So this unit we're going to be working on transformations. So I gave you a definition at the top to tell you what a transformation is. So transformation of a figure is a mapping that results in a change in the position, shape, or size of the figure. So for example, if you're playing dominoes, you often move the dominoes by flipping them, sliding them, or turning them. So this first one would be an example of a translation, which is what we're going to do today. We're just going to move them. Or sorry, this first one is an example of reflection because you're flipping it across there. This second one is an example of a translation, so you're just moving it from side to side. And this last one is a rotation where we rotate. So we're going to practice these three. The first one is a translation. And so just some vocab so you're aware of what I'm using here. Pre-image means the original image, and that'll always be indicated with a solid line and then the regular letters just A, B, and C. Then the image is called the resulting figure. So the one that I end up with, sometimes the book will do a dashed mark, and then you line it up with your letters and mark them as A prime, B prime, and C prime. So we're going to do a translation where it's just going to be mapping all of the points of the figure the same distance in the same direction. So let's look at this first problem. Here is my triangle where I have R, P, and Q. It's wanting me to graph this image using this translation. So for you to understand this notation, this first number is representing my x coordinates and this second number is representing my y coordinates. So if this is a -2, that's telling me on the x-axis it's wanting me to move everything left 2. If this second number is a -5, that's telling me it wants me to move everything down 5 because on the y-axis is where you would get negative. So what you're going to do then is just take each point and start counting. So like point R, I would count left 2 and down 5. Now I just extended the graph that was already on your note-taking guide, so if you want to do the same you may. And then you label it with R prime, so that's R and then like an apostrophe. So then you do the same thing for the other 2 points. For Q, you want to go left 2 and down 5, and then for P, go down 2 or left 2 and down 5, and then just draw in your next set. Now if you are using the same pencil, then maybe you want to do a dashed line to show that that is the image that you were translating, or I use a different color. Whatever, you just want to make sure that you have the resulting answer and that it's easy to find. Okay, pause the video and see if you can do the next one. So on the next piece, I see that we have another triangle, and then my translation is telling me 1, -4. So that's saying that I want to move right 1 and down 4 for all 3 points. So then you just correlate to that. So I would go right 1 for A and down 4, right 1 for B and down 4, and right 1 for C and down 4. So then I drew in my line, I used a different color, and then I labeled all of them as A prime, B prime, and C prime. Okay, so that's just practicing using that translation notation. The next piece is you writing the rule. So here is the original problem on that next one. Oops, sorry. Here's the original problem, and it's asking you what is the rule that describes the translation for PQRS onto P prime, Q prime, R prime, and S prime. So here was the original and then my image that resulted from it. I would need to count how many I'm going over and down. So if I was counting P, I counted that I had to go right 8 and I had to go down 2. Now obviously you can check that for all 4 points, but it should be the same thing. So in my notation, I would write a capital T and then like a little less than symbol, if you will. 8 represents me going right 8. And then comma -2 represents me going down 2, and then another like greater than symbol. And then in parentheses, we always write what our figure was from the original. So in parentheses, I would write PQRS because that was my original shape. Pause the video and see if you can come up with the rule on the second one. So on the second one, It says it's giving you the translation image, and then it told you what the resulting image would come up with. So my pre-image and then my image. I went ahead and graphed those points just so I could see it since I'm visual, and then I just counted. So when you counted, you should be getting right 7 and down 1. So your notation should say capital T with that little less than, 7 comma -1 greater than. You do need to make sure you put in parentheses the figure. Now if it's a triangle, we typically put the triangle symbol and then LMN. If it's anything bigger than a 3-sided figure, then we just write those letters in clockwise. So like on the previous one, we didn't have any symbol because it was only 4 sides. This side there's 3, so I put it in there. Last piece is just making sure you know what a composition is, and we will eventually get there. Composition of transformations just means you're going to combine 2 or more of those transformations together. Okay, go ahead and start translating your figures.